This video is a special message to the President of Kenya, President William Ruto. God today sent me a special message to him. So if you can, kindly share this video, download this video, share it on all your platforms. Let's make sure that this message gets to the President. God today brought into my mind, into my heart, the story of King Solomon and his son, King Rehoboam. So Solomon, when he's made king, he asked God for God to grant him wisdom for him to rule over his people. And the first order of business, once God grants him wisdom, Solomon now begins to focus on making the nation that he serves, the people of Israel, prosperous. He focuses on creating jobs for them. He creates about 180,000 jobs in the construction industry. He goes and sets up the military, getting jobs for people through the military. Next, the trade routes. So Solomon begins to create alliances with the people around him, creating trade routes so that people can be able to trade and become prosperous. And with time, the people of Israel then become prosperous. Them themselves become very, very prosperous. And the Bible says that during the reign of Solomon, gold and silver become as common as stone and dust from the road. And Solomon then, once his people becomes prosperous, then Solomon begins to tax them. He puts a very heavy tax burden on them. And the Bible says that the people willingly gave out tax and they willingly served and obeyed Solomon. Now, Solomon, he becomes old and he dies. But during his final days, he departs from God and the economy of Israel begins to drop. When his son Rehoboam ascends to the throne, the people now are faced with a very heavy tax burden and they have no supporting income to pay their taxes. A group of them band together and they go and they see the new king and they request him, kindly make the burden, the economic burden on us lesser than what your father did. And so one says, give me 3 days. So what he does, he goes and he consults the advice of the old and wise advisors who served under his father Solomon. And the men, they advise him, listen to the people, lessen their burdens, make it easier for them, and then from there they will serve you for the rest of their life. Rehoboam next goes to consult his peers, people who he had grown with, the people who were around him. And the people tell him, do not lessen their burden. Do this. Instead, make it heavier on them. Make it double the burden that your father had done for you. And so this group of people come back 3 days later. Rehoboam answers them harshly and sharply and tells them, you know what? If my father's burden was like a finger, mine will be as thick as his waist. And so Rehoboam ignores the people and he doubles the burden, the economic burden on his people. What happens next is very interesting. Israel, for the first time, Israel revolts against him. They revolt against the king. And here we see Israel splitting into two kingdoms. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And here the people, majority of them, the 10 tribes, they revolt against him and they set up their own king who was called Jeroboam. And now Rehoboam, the son of King Solomon, is left to serve only 2 tribes of Israel. And so God was telling me this for President Ruto, is that the method that you are using to grow the economy is wrong. That you are using the method that Rehoboam intended to use, whereby you grow the economy through taxing the people, through putting heavy burdens on them. But there's a lesson that we can learn from his father's method of rule, of how King Solomon, the wisest man on earth, how he was able to rule Israel for 40 years. The secret is this, that Solomon focused on growing the prosperity of the people whom he served. And once the people became prosperous, then the people willingly were able to pay taxes and to serve him for the rest of his life. And so the solution here for me from God is this, that the first thing to do is that once the finance bill gets to your table, is for you to reject it. Listen to the people of Kenya. Someone once said that the voice of the people is the voice of God. Listen to the people of Kenya. Right now, reject that bill. And then the next thing is this, is that the Lord showed me and told me, set up a committee of people who are full of wisdom, full of ingenuity, full of hard work. set up a committee of people, and their task will simply be this, that they will go around every sector of society, beginning from the manufacturers, to the business community, to the people who are employed, to the young creatives, to the Gen Zs. Let this committee sit with them and let them hear about the challenges that these people are facing. And these people themselves will give you solutions on how they can grow, from the manufacturers to the business community to the young creatives. They'll give you solutions on how to grow, how they can grow and how they can become prosperous. And then this committee will draft a report, and it will be tabled before you. And for the remaining term of your office, I want you to focus on implementing this. It is the same thing as the manifesto that you had when you got elected. Let them focus on this, on growing these sectors of economy and making them prosper. And I assure you that the people whom you serve, they will willingly now pay the due tax, and they will willingly serve you for the rest of your term in office. That's it. I hope this video will be clear enough and you'll understand. And I hope this video gets to you. And I pray that Kenya will move forward and that Kenya will become greater under your reign. Till next time, guys, God bless.